Okay, guys, I've been meaning to come out here to do a video. Been a while. Been dealing with some stuff with my recovery, but I'm finally getting back on track. Okay, I'm just showing you the view of the pond, which we're getting closer to winter time, and we're going to be having to do some work on this pond as far as winterizing it. I still got the water hyacinths out here. Some of my pond plants, you can see, are still doing okay. Kind of had to cut some stuff back there, but you know, once it starts getting colder out here, and probably in the 60s now, 40s at night, we'll have to clean some of this stuff up. I don't quite want to get rid of the plants yet, but we still got another couple of weeks of decent weather. But pretty soon we're gonna have to turn this waterfall off. It gets too cold. I do have a de-icer inside my basement. We're clearing these hyacinths out once they start dying out. I might want to keep some in here for next year. They do come back. They are invasive, but we do think they'll come back, depending on how the roots grow. But for right now, we're going to keep it in here for another couple of weeks. I'll be going to New York at the end of this week, so probably sometime next week I'll get this stuff starting to work out. You can see the fish in there. They're kind of hiding at the bottom now. It's getting a little colder out, so they'll start hiding more. We won't feed them as much. But you can see once this, I was going to do these rocks before the season ended, but I'm going to wait till next season to do it, only because you can see all the gophers down there. About 15 gophers, and you see the big ones, but there's a lot of small ones in there too, hiding in the rocks. I just cleaned out the filters, pads, and these. You can see how nice and clear the water is. You see all the way down to the bottom. They were at night too, so it's kind of easier to see. But if you look closer, you see the ones on the bottom that they're smaller. But we're going to keep these guys in this pond over the winter. And once the winter time and the spring comes, we're going to fix all these rocks. See all the slate around here? We want to get rid of all the slate. I want to build a kind of a slate wall going back that way, all the way down there. So, and we're going to keep that cut down and use the slate for back there. And we're going to get more rocks to build up this wall. I don't want to do anything yet with these rocks in here. I still think I'm going to keep them there for the fish. You can see all the ones that fell into the water. It all depends on how I feel, but I might leave it like that and then just build up the rock wall going this way. But for right now, this is going to be probably one of the last couple of videos I do on the pond, because we're going to start and get ready to winterize it. I'll probably do some videos and show you what we do. But you can see these water hyacinths are still growing, which is crazy. I couldn't get any of the lilies to grow. They kind of died. I'm going to figure something out next year for lilies. I'm probably going to plant one in the middle here. And this is our first year really having this pond, so we're going to do some stuff. You can see a lot of these plants dying. I may bring this side to the fish room. I'll show you what I did in there. But you can see that a lot of these plants here, we cut all these down, but the ones back there are kind of dying out. The one there, those are pretty much dead. I got to clear those out and get rid of them. I'll probably do that when I get back from New York. But all this stuff is going to be pretty much gone. We're going to keep all these plants in here in the middle and let that grow back next year. And you can see a lot of these plants are dying down, but it's okay. We'll let them die, and then we're going to redo it in the springtime. But some of these plants may still be here. But we did cut a lot of them down already, but I'm going to keep the plants in the pond as long as I can. I really have nowhere to put them, so I'm probably just going to take them out when they die. Of course, we still have the arrow plants that are growing pretty good. This one's probably kind of dead, but we'll probably bring them inside. If I had anything inside, I would bring them in, but I don't. So, but again, you see all these rocks in here. We're going to have to fix all these rocks going up these ponds. I feel like we could get a better grasp on this. This plant here is a plant that I planted. It's going crazy. I had to actually pulled out some green algae, hair algae. It's growing all inside there. If you look close enough, you probably can't see it, but if you look close enough in here, there's some hair algae. I'm not going to get rid of it all, but I got rid of most of it out of there. You got to keep up with it. but that stuff will start dying down. So this is what we got. We got a lot of plants to cut back. We'll probably get rid of some of the stuff here soon. Once I get the heater going, and de-icer going, and I'm gonna buy a pump for the middle to get some aeration, and we'll turn this waterfall off. Even when we turn the waterfall off, if I get a nice little breeze, I may fix these rocks to get a little bit of a better feel. Maybe put some of these rocks down here. You know, get them down to come down. And we're gonna get the slate off here. Slate. One thing the slate does is it may cause problem with the liner, so I don't want to do that with their sharp edges. So we'll move that around probably. Anyway, unfortunately I did lose a goldfish. I forgot to close this net back. This net right here. There's a net that collects all the leaves and stuff. I like to use that to keep the fish deterrent too, but unfortunately I just not been paying attention. The fish got caught now and got stuck into the pump. The pump is pretty heavy because it has to control those waterfalls. So it happens, unfortunately, but I still got about 13, 15, between 13 and 18 goldfish in there. And we're going to keep it that way unless they have babies, and we'll figure that out. But we're not going to put koi in there yet. I may do koi another time, we'll see. Maybe next year, but we'll see. The only thing problem with koi is that you get a lot of wildlife around here. In this backyard, you get deer and raccoons and all kinds of stuff. And herons, so we don't want anything to come in here to scoop up those birds, those fish. The goldfish have a good hiding space right now. We'll keep the rocks in the winter time so they can hide in the rocks so that none of the predators can get to them. So that's my plan, and hopefully you like that plan. So we're kind of shy. I want to get inside here and get to the next step. We're getting ready to get all this stuff closed down. You see all these plants are still doing okay. Like this one, these plants here, the rose bush are doing good, doing pretty good. But it's getting colder out here, so we'll see. There's a lock, so I'm gonna go into the front door. This is the pond. A lot of them are dead now, but the fish are hiding underneath here. It's a little cold in there. I might have to move this pond out soon. Not sure there's any fish in there. There should be some in there. This is the other day, but they're not swimming around now. I don't see anything in there. Let's see if there we go. There's some out there. Like 4 or 5 in there. But I'm gonna move this pond. I'm actually gonna check this temperature in this pond. And I might have to move it inside. But we'll keep an eye on it, see what it says. Don't mind the mess in here, but we're gonna go to the other side and I'm gonna show you what we did in the fish room. But this is my living space. So we had a problem with the lights in here. I always kept this light on up there for the fish, but I got another one of those lights there, which I'm actually going to get another one. I'm going to put one on this side above this 125, and I'll put one above the 75, or possibly in the middle here, just to get more light over here. I did move some fish around. In case you guys didn't see the last video, I did move my Crebinsus into this tank. You can see the Crebinsus now in there. I got them in with the mollies. Right down there is the Crebinsus. You see the nice coloration. So far so good. I think they're kind of picking on each other. I gotta keep watching to make sure they're not picking on the mollies. I think this molly right here is pregnant, so we gotta keep an eye on her. If she starts having babies, we'll have to move them out of there. I got plenty of room to move babies around. I'm gonna keep an eye on that, but the Crebinsus will lay eggs too, but you can see they're chasing each other. They don't really chase the other fish yet, but they're much more colorful. I had them down in that 20-gallon down there, and they were just hiding. I couldn't find them, couldn't see them. Now they're in with other fish. You can see them more. They're always picking on each other. I don't see any problem with the mollies yet. They're not picking on the mollies, so we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that, though. Looks like both of those mollies are pregnant. There might be one male in there. Looks like he's getting crazy, but neither of the mollies are picking on each other. But you know, we'll keep an eye on that tank. I may have to move some fish around, but of course, I separated these guys, the trot Goodeids. The parents are over here. Looks like the mother's pregnant again in there. You can see this has got a little. I gotta clean that off, but the mom's getting big again. So we're gonna keep the female in there. These are the juveniles that are growing up. I took some of them. I kind of separated them. If I do have more babies, I'll probably move these guys back over there. Of course, this 15 gallons always been for grow-outs, so we're good with that. And of course, you got my puffer fish, who's doing great. When I first moved him, he wasn't doing that great, but I think because the temperature wasn't as good as he wanted it, so he's doing great now. I'm gonna be cleaning these up because I didn't realize how bad these would get dirty wise. We're gonna actually soak them one of these days this week probably, and get them cleaned up. So puffer's doing great. Of course, the mollies, and I put the carbinsus in there. There's a bunch of other fish, mollies, swordtails. Unfortunately, I lost a female in here. I didn't have the right ratio of male to female. I had too many males in there, and unfortunately, they picked on her. And I had moved her into the guppy tank, but she didn't make it. So it's like all the fish I got from the fish store didn't make it, unfortunately, which never really happens a lot to me, but it does happen in this hobby. But you can see all these white tops. I gotta clean all these tops. I'm gonna soak them probably this week sometime. But and of course a bunch of snails in there. But yeah, that tank's doing great. Of course the gourami tank, I haven't really had any problem with this tank at all. You got 2 gouramis. There's 2 zebra loaches, and I do have a algae eater in there who was getting big. Actually, it's probably about the biggest size you'll get. I have another one in there too. The same type of algae eater, but he's doing great. And of course, there's one ruby barb, rosy barb, sorry, and there's 2 snakeskin barbs in there. That tank is doing great. And there's also a clown pleco I've had for years, probably like 10 years now. He's in there somewhere. I did have to do a couple of adjustments on these filters. I was running sponge filters, but I kind of adjusted it where I'm able to use. I remember to run the hang-on-back filters. I think hang-on-back filters are so much better. But I had to clean. I did some water changes in this tanks, and it was so filthy and dirty. I had to move some stuff around and make it better for these guys. I hooked this filter back up. That's working really good. You can see because I got more fish in there. And I'm trying to use both now. And if you see this guppy tank, we had some issues with the guppy tank. I was keeping the light off, but now you can see that guppies are I have a lot of babies in there. We're getting some action. So we're trying to build this tank back up without putting any more fish in there. There were a bunch of babies in here already. I don't want to take a chance and put more guppies in and lose all the babies. So there's probably about 30 to 40 guppies in here hiding around. You look close enough, you'll see them in there. I also got some snails in there, but we're going to keep it the way it is. If I do get some trade action, I may get some guppies. I may need some guppies. But we'll let these guys grow out and see how they do. Like I said, I made adjustments on these tanks. I'm running just clearly sponge filters in these. I did some water changes on here. I adjusted the chemistry of the tank. When I went to a recent auction, and I got some of these test kits, pH kits. I got a ammonia kit, a GH kit, which I've been using to see if the GH is good in the tank, which it is. So we got it back to normal. We'll see if we get more action in that tank with the guppies. Of course, I hate to lose fish, but you can see they're all coming out now. So it looks better. We'll get there. Okay. Of course, this is the famous 125 tank. You can see the Baylor sharks are doing great. I think the Baylor shark might have hit himself. So we'll have to put some salt in there. Didn't realize that, but
He might have smacked himself in the head getting scared. But you can see Dempsey doing great. The Baylor sharks are getting big. The silver dollars are huge. Of course, the yellow pleco, and there's also a Pseudodontis that always hangs out in here, and you can see his tail back there. But that's a beautiful fish. Of course, he's been the same way for years. You know, I think it's a female, but still got the eye. But we kind of got it back to where it's okay. He had that he must have messed with his eye and smacked his eye. But he's doing great now, as you can see. They're still bickering back and forth, the Green Terror and the Jack Dempsey, but you know, they don't bother the other fish, they just bother each other. These guys, the Baylor sharks, when they get spooked, they smack themselves. Could have hit himself in the grate, but we're gonna put some salt in that tank. Of course, the angelfish tank, which looks great. We got 2 angelfish in there, 2 big ones. I'm trying to get another one. Of course, you gotta be careful with these guys because the one female is very aggressive. The one in the corner there, she killed 2 other fish, so gotta be careful. I did lose a rasbora in here, but of course we got the beautiful geophagus. There's 2 different species of geophagus in there, and of course there's a I can't think of the name of the fish, but there's I can't think of the name of the fish. It's anyway, I forgot the name of the fish, but it's a cichlid. It's right there. You guys probably know the name of it. If I don't know the name of it, it's fine, whatever. Of course, down here we moved the convicts. The polar convicts are down in the 55 gallon. There's also one of those algae eaters that I put in here. They're, you can't really see him, but you can, anyways, right down the bottom there, you can see him. I moved him out of the 40 gallon. He's next to the pleco right now. I don't know if you can see that, but he's good. Unfortunately, we lost a bunch of fish in here, but the pleco's getting big. These are all the polar convicts that were in the smaller tank. They're getting big. You can see them, and they're doing great. But the pleco is doing good. And of course, I'm having really a bad memory today with remembering these fish. But the algae eater is doing good. So this 20 gallon I moved when I was in Virginia for the Potomac Valley Aquarium Club. We did an auction. I got these fish for, I think it was like 12 bucks. I think it's 11 fish in there. They are, I can't think of the name of the fish, but they're live bearers, and I got them in a bunch, so they're really good. Man, I can't think of the name of it. I'm so bad right now with the names of the fish. My memory is shot. It's gone. Anyway, they're doing great. I just got them as a group. They'll probably have more babies. We'll leave it the way it is. Of course, the Tetra tank, I moved that algae eater that was in here into that tank, and I kept the other fish in here. They're doing great. This is the one tank that I wish I had better light on. I do use this light sometimes, but once we get the other light right here, we'll put one over here so we can get better light on these. But these are a bunch of, this is this mixed rasbora, mixed tetras, and of course there's some. If you look down there, there's a pleco and there's some cories down there, and a bunch of snails again. We have a problem with snails, but we're going to fix that problem. Of course, I already showed you got the trout video parents. Man, I'm so bad right now with these names. You guys know the name of the fish if you're a fish keeper. Of course, we have these killifish, the dwarf killifish, who are doing great. Again, with all these snails, but I got this filter going in here. We're doing pretty good with this tank. There are a bunch of them in there. They like to hide under the rocks, but there's a bunch of killifish in there. This is another tank with a bunch of, as you can see, a bunch of snails. We got 4 shrimp in here, 4 yellows. We're doing great. There's 5 neons in there, and a bunch of shrimp. I mean, a bunch of snails. You can see the snails moving, but I like to make sure there's no babies, no baby shrimp. This tank is empty only because it's got a fill of ammonia. I got to redo this tank. It's not filled up all the way. I'm probably going to get rid of this tank because it's broken. You can see it's leaking on the bottom here. I'm probably going to get rid of it. It doesn't serve me any use. I can't keep the... I'm going to try to run a different type of filter in there, but I can't keep the cycle in that tank. So we might have to fix that. This is just a tank that I haven't really done anything with yet. We're going to leave it the way it is until I get more small fish I may put in there. So that's the way it is, guys. I'm building the lights in this room to get. I want to do plants in here. Once I get it to the point where I want it to be, we're going to put lights in here, and it's going to look fantastic. Believe me. Once I get to the point, but you can see I moved some stuff around, and you know, it's always a work in progress. Like I said, I need to get these tops cleaned up. I didn't realize how dirty they would get with the white. So we're gonna have to. I'm gonna use one of these buckets here and soak them. I'll get them cleaned up. I'm gonna be going to New York, so I'll be doing some stuff in here this week, some maintenance stuff, and then we're gonna get this fish room right. Like I said, I will be treating this tank with some salt because the Baylor shark smacked his head as usual, and they're crazy. But you can see it right on the tip of his nose. But we'll put some salt in there, he'll feel better. You can see how big they got. They got really big. You know, a lot of times when they get this big, you might have to move them to a different tank. You know, but that's something I'm thinking about doing. But not right now. You know, if it gets any better, that's why I only have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fish in there. We'll leave it the way it is, but you can see how big they got. I love those fish. They're my favorite fish, honestly. But someone told me that I could never grow them that big, but guess what? They're that big. And of course, they like to jump a lot. You gotta be careful with them. I try to keep the less hiding spaces, but of course, I run 3 hang-on back filters here, only because I don't have the money to buy a big filter. So anyway, being the fact that I forgot some of the name of these fish, I feel bad for that, but when the next video I will make sure I come up with the name and tell you guys what they are. But the main thing is these guys here. I for the life of me cannot remember the name of the damn fish, and I've kept them for years. And it's pretty much the same thing as a molly and a swordtail. It's just a smaller version. But I can't think of the name. But anyway, that's the way the fish room looks. Like I said, I made some adjustments in here. We're going to do some more adjustments. We're going to keep it going. I still haven't been able to build anything in the front there. I used that wood to build a shelf upstairs in my garage. So we're gonna. Next thing is I'm gonna buy some plywood, and I might use this wood over here that I have. I cut it up and put it across there. But that's the next step. We'll do that once I'm feeling 100% healthy. We'll move that across there. Of course, I put these lights in here. I want to build these lights and build this roof up continually so I can get plants in here. That's my main goal, is to get plants in these tanks, and I will get there at one point. The length of the video is a little bit long, but it's fine. Just want to give you guys an update. Alright, till next time, remember, if you can't own them, rehome them, and keep an eye for the next video. I'm going to try to do one, you know, if I make any progress with the pond or whatever, I'll make another video, guys. Alright, have a good day. Bye.